Hey, everybody. It's Tuesday morning, and we're talking about fears this week. Now, that may seem like kind of a negative thing, but I think it's a positive thing to think about in the middle of all of the coronavirus scares. And, when we talk about fears, you can probably point back to some times in your own life when you were fearful. You probably remember as a kid looking at a roller coaster and having your blood run cold at the thought of climbing on that machine, and you imagined it going off the rails and all other kinds of things. You probably remember waking up in the middle of the night as a kid and being fearful and your thoughts racing 100 miles an hour, imagining all kinds of things. But one of the things the Bible tells us is that perfect love casts out fear. And, when we begin to love Christ more deeply, we begin to trust him more fully. And those fears begin to drop away. One of the things that we know about fears is they do absolutely nothing. They're sort of worthless. They drag you down. They weigh you down. And they drain your life of joy along the way. And the fact of the matter is that our fears are usually far worse than what actually happens. And our imagination can get away with us. But when we think about fears, we also need to recognize that most fears start in the mind. Most of them are not rational, and most fears rarely turn into reality. And I think for that reason, it's one of the reasons the Apostle Paul in Philippians 4 talks about controlling our mind, of the discipline of our mind as we begin to develop faith and develop that deeper trust in the Lord. And I want us just to read a passage from Philippians chapter 4, where the Apostle Paul says there, he says, "Do not be anxious about anything." So he's telling us we need to get rid of those fears. He says, "But in everything, by prayer and petition, casting your fears upon God, and with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." And then he says, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." So when faith enters, fear flees. Then he says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." And Paul seems to point us to this fact of taking those thoughts of fear and replacing them with thoughts of faith that glorify God. And as we bring our mind under control, those fears begin to disappear as well. Anyway, focus your mind on the things of God today. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever else is in that list that we've just read, and get rid of those fears and start living by faith. Have a great day. Bye for now. God bless.